So he comes. I'm sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. I saw something. So yeah, the Avengers run into each other after Scott comes up with the idea of time travel, after coming out of the quantum realm and unshrinking from the quantum realm. And the van that carried the quantum realm machine is in some sort of abandoned place that where a bunch of storage stuff is stored. And he's legally dead, Scott Lang. People just assume he was dead because everyone else got snapped away for some reason. Okay? So everyone that Scott knows from his family is gone, including Hope, his partner, the Wasp, and the original Ant-Man and Wasp. So, and also everyone he knows and cares about, except for a few Avengers. Everyone's pretty much gone, and he sees them all engraved and memorialized on these gravestones. These giant gravestones, tombstones, I mean. That have great names on them. And he asks, and he wonders what happens to the neighborhood he goes back that he was living in. But he's wondering what happened to everyone. He asks this kid what happened. Where is everybody? He's wondering. And, so he, goes to figure out everyone's pretty much dead. Something happened. Then he meets up with his daughter as a full-grown adult. His baby girl that was a lot smaller. And, realized that, yeah, they both hug each other and so happy to see each other. And Scott says, "Peanut, you're so big." So yeah, it's very heartwarming, tender moment. Nice. Then he goes to the Avengers compound, what's left of the Avengers, and tells him his idea about time travel for a time heist. He calls it. A time heist, he calls it. So, he says he got the idea by being stuck in the quantum world for 5 years, even though it felt like 5 hours. So he thinks if there's a way that they can take a control of the quantum realms with quantum physics and pin particles and like control it, they can bring everybody back before Thanos wipe half of all the universe of all living creatures. And yep. And so they all meet up. And they're all in. Except for Tony. Then overnight he figures out the solution of time travel, and he's now in. But trying to convince himself that he doesn't have to do it. By having Pepper Potts even try to ask him not to do it. Because he just has a bad feeling that something's going to go wrong, it's going to be dangerous and stuff. And he can retire right now if Pepper Potts demands that he stops. So, she knows he can't stop because that's one of many little failures in life. So, he meets up with his Avengers to help them after Scott does a time test run of a few times, and he comes back way younger as a baby, then way older as a young kid / teenager, then as an old man, then comes back as old as his normal age he was before he tried time jumping. And Banner sees this as some sort of leap forward. And they're looking at him like he's insane. Which is kind of funny. I mean, because he sees this as some sort of success. And has to leap forward, even though there are drawbacks. So, and they're looking at him like he's like fucking lost it. And, when Tony meets up with Captain America and gives him back his shield, he figures out that Scott turns into a baby. jumping, and Cap says, among other things, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Tells the good news to Cap that he figured out time heist whole thing and the problem and how to make it work. And he invented a time wristwatch that can track the moment, that they can track what moment in time they want to go to and go back and forth. So yeah. He asked if we're getting the whole team back together. We are getting the whole team back together. He says, right. So, Cap says we're working on it. And he gets his shield back, his old shield back that he let go of and left behind with Tony in Civil War. So he puts on the Cap. He's a little nervous have the shield, take some shield back, but because of that rough history with what happened in the events of the Civil War, and so he just accepts it after feeling hesitating and nervous at first, because it's like saying accepting it's like seeing, I guess it's like reunite with an old friend after after some old wounds happen here or something like that. Some sentimental value to Cap. So yeah. Rocket, Raccoon, and Professor Hulk, even though it's not called Professor Hulk, it's called Hulk, or Banner, go to meet up with Thor, and they see the terrible shape he's in, mentally and physically. Oh my god. And how depressed he is, and obviously he's trying to just drown his sorrows with beer and tons of alcohol, and getting lots of weight. And there's lots of fat on him now. And they comment on that, like, asking him if he's commented on his weight and also how he looks like shit. Asking if he's okay. They can tell he's not okay. He goes completely full of it. Thor is. He says he's okay, fine. He's completely full of it, and they can tell that he's in rough shape, mentally and physically, from a whole thing he did 5 years ago, chopping off Thanos' head and doing reality and not going for the head when he showed up before he snapped his fingers, wiped off half of the universe, and also all of his other failures in life he's lost from the past Thor movies, going back to Thor 1 from 2011. So basically, is all that stuff, all those adventures and trials and errors, has finally taken a toll on his physical and mental health. And he's pretty much given up on wanting to be a hero, and just comes aboard because there's beer on the ship and there's alcohol, so therefore he comes aboard with some time heist and on another Avengers mission to get everyone back. Yikes, I feel bad. I feel it's kind of depressing things more like this, and a really poor sight to see him in this condition he's in, mental and physical state he's in, because Thor's is fucking broken, destroyed. His heroism, and I guess he's like, this is a Thor that's just like seen too much and failed too much in his eyes, and doesn't really see himself as a hero, and not sure he wants to be a hero at this point in his life. He says it's like, but he's the king of Asgard, and it seems like that's making him worse on his health, physical and mental. And yeah, so it's kind of a depressing sight, a very depressing sight. And Black Widow meets up with Ronan, who used to be Hawkeye, but he's not called Ronan in this movie. He's still called Sam. He's still called Hawkeye, or Clint. Not Sam. That's Falcon. And brings Hawkeye to his senses by talking him in to helping with the Avengers mission on the timelines, and he is persuaded by Black Widow. And she's been looking for him, being on the lookout for him, trying to get him back in the team because he lost his entire family. Wife and kids, and the dog too. Got snapped away from reality, but he's the one that's left. So he's kind of all depressed and crazy now, and bloodthirsty. Wow. So yeah, so they all, regroup at Avengers headquarters, which is now the Avengers compound. At the Avengers compound. And they, build the time machine and work on the right dates for each time stone that exists throughout the 9 years of going back to the first Avengers movie. 9 years, so that's when the thing started, the whole thing started seeing. So everyone except for Ant-Man has been in contact with his Phoenix and witnessed it, power and a look. So yeah, knows what I did with the time bot. So is explained his story from with Infinity Stone from with Shane, and also from the Dark World Thor movie, and so they set time date for there, and Blackwell points out the office as there's 3 time stones in the same year of 2012. The year of the first Avengers movie, so in all in the same city. If you pick the right year, so she figures like there's 3 of them in that place, and so they set the location for that year, and the location for the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie from that year. And the year that they go to, and Guardians of the Galaxy is the team that Rhodey, Nebula, and Black Widow, and Hawkeye, and for some reason, Nebula then told the whole, there's a catch of how to get the Soul Stone. So basically, she's kind of involved, so basically she just be a total bitch and not say, oh, this has to be, you have to lose that which you love, in order to get the Soul Stone of someone you love. So it involves sacrificing someone you love. And so, apparently she thought it was great to tell them ahead of time for some reason. And I guess Nebula didn't want to go there, and didn't want to go there with Rhodey instead of Black Widow going there with Hawkeye. So Black Widow dies because she beat Hawkeye to committing suicide to get the Soul Stone. So now we've got the Soul Stone. Why didn't Nebula say anything? It bothers me. It really bothers me that Nebula didn't say anything. Like, she's dropping all this information, and supposedly she's a now Avengers member, but you kept something like that from them? Did you thought it was important information to know that? For them to know that that's the catch of how to get the Soul Stone? Wouldn't it make sense to, like, if that's the case, would it make sense to go get the Soul Stone before and kill off Gamora before she hides the Soul Stone on Vormir? Or kidnap her before she arrives to Vormir? Why not just get the Soul Stone before she arrives to Vormir and avoid the whole sacrifice bull crap and Nebula not telling any of the game shit? about the catch of Vormir to get the Soul Stone. And that makes perfect sense. Too much sense. Or why not just tell everyone that there's a catch of getting the Soul Stone? That way they could have discussed or think of a different, or decide who, or draw straws of who's going to be the sacrifice or something. You know, there's got to be a better way to do that. You know? Yeah, that's stupid. So Captain America's team and Ant-Man and Iron Man and Cap go to 2012 to get the Hulk. Go get all 3 Infinity Stones from that time period. Oh, and Rhodey knocks out Star-Lord unconscious and gets the Time Stone with Nebula, but the Nebula gets beamed up by Thanos after she figured out that stand from 2014. The Guardians 1 came out in that timeline. Thanos somehow knows and scanned all the memories from Nebula from that year timeline. From past them, not present, the one that Endgame takes place on it, okay? And Rhodey goes back to the present. Hawkeye goes back to the present. Nebula tries to warn Rocket and the rest of the Avengers, and guess they don't get the message, and then she gets beaten up by the Thanos and gets captured as a prisoner of war. Basically, and gets tortured and stuff, and I assume. But she gets handcuffed, you see, so, and, past Nebula poses as Endgame Nebula from 2014, the first year from Guardians Galaxy Volume 1 timeline, poses as that Nebula, and disguises herself as taking Nebula's parts. Like, little details that make Nebula different from Nebula from Endgame. So she dresses up as that Nebula. And they don't expect the thing, the Avengers, and the so it's under the radar completely. And Captain America and Iron Man and Ant-Man in 2012, and well, they got 2 of the stones from 2012, but except one because the Hulk from 2012 fucked the mission because coming from Endgame timeline from future forgot that Hulk took the stairs. And Hulk, when he arrived down the stairs, he ended up knocking over time from Endgame timeline and the one of the Infinity Stones and then Loki from 2012 stole it and went somewhere else in the timeline. That leads into Loki series, season 1. Basically, his setups. So, yeah. So, Captain America and Tony come up with a different plan, and to go to the 1950s or 40s. Anyway, time shortly after, a little after, just a little before Tony was born, but and he has a vague description from a source of Infinity Stone that was there in that time period. That's Peggy Carson around the 50s era of time with voice, somewhere in there. So they got the time Infinity Stone there. So Tony takes it and puts it in a briefcase and has traveled his father on the way up. hot-talk conversation about being a parent and how it's nervous and wrecking, and that you can just do what you just can figure out on the way when they come, and do your best. It's a nice conversation they have, and then Tony hugs Howard, his father. And it's a nice, sweet moment, actually. You know, Howard's probably confused and feels like he knows him for some reason and seen him before. That's probably because, they look so much alike when they were young. They do kind of look alike, you know? So, I mean, it's kind of funny how Howard feels like he knows Tony from Endgame, Tony. When he visits the past version of his father before he got murdered by the Winter Soldier. Yeah, that's Bucky. So it's interesting how he feels like he already knows Tony, which he does, but he hasn't met him yet because Tony's still in the mother's belly at this point in time, and coming around. So I'm going to be born soon. So yeah. Tao says told Tony she's pretty far in the pregnancy. Don't know how many months it is, but you can notice the baby belly now. So yeah, and Howard basically shares a little secret about himself, that he hopes that the baby's nothing like him because he feels like he feels like this all of the great good he's done can take a toll on you and make you miserable, and that's why he hopes the baby's not really like him. And as much good he's done, it can take a toll. And basically says he feels like there's a flaw in his character. So really, he really doesn't want baby to be like the father, because he sees too many flaws in his character. As much good as he does throughout the years of helping Shield in the world. So yeah. Basically he's quickly brief on that. So Captain America runs into Peggy Carter, but he's in her office and hiding from everyone that thinks that she's a suspicious captain of him and Tony, and sees Peggy Carter and she sees a picture of him on her picture of Peggy. Him and Peggy, Peggy, and also a picture of him in her desk room, and he kind of seems like he wants to take the opportunity to stay there and be with Peggy, because he hasn't found love hasn't, I guess Peggy's gang hooking up with Peggy's granddaughter, and Civil War didn't go well as he was hoping. It went with Peggy, his first love and love of his life, he says. And I just realized, remind myself that it's kind of creepy that he's going want to be with Peggy and end up with Peggy's granddaughter, and then he basically ends up with Peggy, which leads to pregnancy, which leads to the next bloodline, which means Steve Rogers hooked up with his own granddaughter from the future and kissed her. I think I'm gonna be sick. and probably got laid with her. It's like, who knows what that kiss led to after the Civil War. It's oh god, I want to think about that. So yeah, Tony and fast forwarding, he leaves Lily Peggy's office. He goes back to the present with Tony, and with the other Infinity Sword. Hulk goes back to the present with another Infinity Sword that's getting it from the Asian one after persuading her and telling her the truth. That's Strange willingly hands all the Thanos and figure that he has a plan, and Asian one figures the same thing, feeling that afraid that Banner's right about this, guess. And I just realized he also told a quick load of bullshit. Because I was trying to be optimistic, he was being optimistic, saying they couldn't return them all back. But then I remembered, early on in the film, in Infinity Wars he says we return back in the proper timeline. If we do that, and we don't fail, and don't die trying, wouldn't work as far as his knowledge is, because he was there when the Ant-Man, Scott, said that Hank Pym made only a certain number, there's only a certain number that Hank Pym made of pin powers that he has left. So, he says that there's only enough trip for a certain amount of trips. Yeah. Enough to get them back and forward.